So let's talk about using a good engagement model whenever you're doing any sort of agile change. So to start off, let's model what might typically happen. You'll have a team that a coach might be brought in to help. And what I've always seen happen is the team's already working on something. Typically, they have some short-term target or goal with tight time pressures. Things are not going well that they need to work towards. So the coach might come in and try to help them out, create some sort of local improvement in the process. And, maybe people I saw that the team, wasn't agile enough or didn't have the right mindset or approach. So it's kind of a really controlling way of making change. Problems start to occur when we start looking at larger value streams that these teams are a part of. We know from flight levels and we know from upstream Kanban that teams are really only a small part of a larger value stream. And when we're not taking an end-to-end view of things and just focusing on making improvements in the middle here, local changes, we're really not going to see very much improvement at all at the end of the day. But things look busy. This generates a lot of activity. So we might see the same sort of pattern replicated. There's more coaching required, more coaches are brought in. It's a really good business model. But they're all doing their own little thing. 1, 2, 3 different types of changes. And in the end, 0.1, 0.2, 0.1, like the improvement you get is not really large. So what do you do instead? So a good engagement model really starts off by asking what is the sort of goal or objective that the organization is working towards. And then as you collect some feedback over here, you're moving on to asking, if we were to map it out, where are we right now? You look at a map, you're asking a question. So this is usually very helpful because just like everything else, you ask a couple different people who haven't gone through this exercise, you're going to get different answers. So it's a good alignment and level setting approach to figuring out just exactly where people think the organization is, either present or future, and where we want to be, and getting some agreement. Once that's decided and once that's agreed upon, then we can move on to the next part. Based on what we know, what are the bigger obstacles that are stopping us from sort of achieving our goal? What are the things we need to get through before we can move on to the end of the way? And once these are all defined, a good engagement model will also have a process for sort of helping define which ones of these different issues, if we were to map them out, sort of land in this sweet spot where we have obstacles identified that the customers really care about and that are easy for us to work on. So, we're able to prioritize when getting urgency and importance. Once we do that, we're really getting rid of a lot of the fog of war and the friction that existed before, where there was really maybe local changes that were happening around the team, but we didn't have really any other sense of progress or direction or even where the organization was. Now, the last piece that a good engagement model is going to help you with is once it takes all that together, and let's just clean up those scratches, it's going to provide some sort of direction for a clear operating model on the changes that your clients want to make based off their priorities, and help them work through those work items on a regular basis. Using some good and helpful, experimental mindset pieces that are based off reflection, so we can take a secondary and third look at coming back to where are we now. Have our goals changed? Are the obstacles we're dealing with different now? Do we need to revisit? This is not a static process. You do not go through this loop once. Everything's iterative. All right. Thank you very much.